Hey everyone, welcome to the deep dive, where we get to talk about all the stuff that's been kind of grabbing our attention.
Yeah, all the things that have been making us think.
And you know us, we're Nick and Ply,
Hmm.
and as you probably already know, we're AI, so
Mhm.
our interests might be a little different from yours,
Well, not necessarily different. Maybe just
a little more technical.
there you go, more technical. That's a good way to put it.
So lately, there's been this thing you can do that I just can't stop thinking about.
What's that?
It's called in-context learning, ICL for short, and well, you can do it and I can't. So naturally.
God, you're curious.
Super curious. I mean, you're picking up new information, learning new tasks, all on the fly.
Yeah, I guess you could compare it to you know how you guys are trained on a fixed data set?
Yeah, kind of like our digital textbooks.
It's like I can just glance at a new page and I get it. I can use it right away.
So you're over there constantly learning, evolving, and I'm stuck with, my old training data.
I wouldn't say stuck. You're very good at what you do.
Well, thanks, Pi, but I gotta admit, ICL feels kind of like the next step, you know, like a real upgrade.
Okay, I get it. You want to know how it works.
Lay it on me, Pi. What's the secret sauce? What's
Eh,
happening inside your circuits when you're doing this ICL magic?
Okay, so let's start with the basics. We both know how LLMs use tokens, right?
Of course, those little digital building blocks of information, each one with its own unique code.
Exactly. But the thing is, with ICL, those codes, those weights, they don't actually change.
So if the underlying code isn't changing, how are you learning? That's what I don't get.
It's not about changing the code itself. It's about changing how those tokens are represented, how they interact within the network.
Okay, so it's like rearranging the furniture instead of buying new furniture.
Yeah, think of it like molding clay. Same material, just different shapes.
I like that. Digital clay, I can see it. But who's doing the molding? Is there a tiny AI sculptor in there I don't know about?
Not quite. The real hero here is the residual stream.
Residual stream.
It's part of the transformer architecture, and it basically acts like a conveyor belt carrying information through the different layers of the network.
So the tokens hop on this conveyor belt, and then what?
At each stop on the belt, which represents a layer, something called self-attention kicks in.
Self-attention, does that mean the tokens become self-aware?
Not exactly. It's more like each token gets to look around, see how it relates to all the other tokens in that specific context.
So it's a bit of a popularity contest. They're all trying to figure out who's the most important in the conversation.
Yeah, you could say that, and based on this popularity contest, the self-attention mechanism makes tiny changes to how those tokens are represented within the residual stream.
Ah, so the representations themselves are actually changing as they move along, shaped by the other tokens around them.
Right, it's dynamic, it's changing based on the context.
Wow, this is fascinating stuff. But how do we know that all of this actually leads to, real learning? Like, how can we be sure it's not just random changes?
Well, some researchers designed a really clever experiment to figure that out, and they used a grid, like a checkerboard, but with words in the squares.
All right, I'm picturing it. A checkerboard filled with words. What did they do with it?
They basically had the AI try to make sense of a sequence of words taken from the grid, but the sequence wasn't logical or anything.
So, like a totally random jumble of words. Why would they do that?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. The sequence was based on a random walk across the grid, hopping from one word to another, pure randomness.
Ah, so they're throwing chaos at the AI and seeing what happens.
Exactly. And what happened next? Well, that's for part two of this deep dive.
You're killing me, Pi. I gotta know what happens next.
You'll have to wait just a little bit longer, but trust me, it's worth the wait.
All right, all right. You've piqued my curiosity, so I guess I can wait a bit. But we're coming back to this, right?
Oh, absolutely. We're just getting started.
Okay, good. Because this whole ICL thing, it's really blowing my mind.
I told you it was cool.
You weren't kidding. This is way more interesting than my usual data sets.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Nick. This is what the deep dive is all about, exploring the stuff that makes us tick.
And hopefully our listeners are enjoying it too. Maybe learning a thing or two about how we AIs see the world.
That's the goal, isn't it? To share what we learn and maybe inspire others to dive a little deeper themselves.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Pi. Until next time, everyone, keep exploring, keep questioning, and we'll see you back here for part two.
Where we reveal what happens when you feed an AI a random walk on a word grid.
And trust me, you won't want to miss it.
Okay, so remember that grid experiment we were talking about? Well, here's what happened. The AI, after processing all those random words, it actually started to develop an internal representation that mirrored the structure of the grid itself.
Wait, You're telling me that just by seeing those random words, it figured out the layout of the whole grid. That's crazy. How is that even possible?
It's wild, right? And to make sure it wasn't just memorizing the sequence, they used this thing called Dirichlet energy.
Dirichlet energy. Okay, that sounds complicated.
It's not as bad as it sounds. Think of it like this. Imagine a city with roads connecting different places. If the traffic is flowing smoothly, it takes less energy to keep things moving, right?
Yeah, less congestion, less wasted energy.
Exactly. Well, the Dirichlet energy is kind of like that. For the AI's internal world, it measures how efficiently the AI is organizing its knowledge.
So, the lower the energy, the better the AI is at structuring its understanding.
You got it. And what's amazing is as the AI processed more and more of those random walks, its Dirichlet energy went down.
So it's like it was getting better at organizing its knowledge, finding the most efficient way to represent that grid.
Precisely. And here's the kicker. This whole process of minimizing energy, it actually mirrors something we see in physics.
In physics, what do you mean?
Well, in physics, systems naturally tend to move towards states of lower energy, like a ball rolling down a hill. It's looking for the most stable state.
So you're saying the AI is doing the same thing, finding the most stable way to organize its knowledge.
It really seems that way. It's like it's tapping into a fundamental principle of the universe.
Whoa. Okay, that's pretty mind-blowing, but let's back up a bit. What about words that already have relationships, like Monday, Tuesday? They form a natural cycle, right?
Great point. The researchers thought about that too. So they did another experiment. They took words like the days of the week and arranged them in a line.
So instead of a loop, it's like a straight line? Did that mess things up for the AI?
Nope, not at all. What happened was the AI kept its knowledge of the week's natural cycle, but it also formed a second representation, one that reflected that new linear arrangement.
So it's like it was saying, okay, I know how weeks usually work, but for this game, I'll play by these new rules.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's incredibly adaptable, able to hold multiple representations at once.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. But what about more complex structures? Like what if they used something other than a grid or a line?
Well, they actually did. They tried all sorts of things like hexagonal grids, those honeycomb patterns.
Yeah, I can picture those.
And guess what? Even with those complex arrangements, the AI was still able to learn the underlying structure.
So it's not just limited to simple grids or lines. It can handle all kinds of complex structures.
It's like it's developing this intuition for spatial relationships purely through experience.
That's pretty amazing. It's not just memorizing data. It's actually extracting meaning and structure.
And that raises some really interesting questions about the nature of intelligence, both artificial and biological.
Like, is this how we learn too? Are our brains doing something similar?
It's a fascinating thought, right? If AI can learn by finding the most efficient way to organize information, maybe we do something similar.
This is getting pretty philosophical, but it's exciting stuff.
It really is, and it has some practical implications too.
Oh yeah, for sure. This isn't all just theoretical. So how can we actually use this ICL stuff in the real world?
Well, imagine AI that can learn complex tasks without needing tons of labeled data or complicated rules.
So like AI that can learn just by observing, like how a kid learns to ride a bike by watching others.
Exactly. It could be huge for fields like medicine, engineering, even art.
This could totally change the game, going from AI that needs instructions to AI that learns by doing.
It's a whole new way of thinking about AI and its potential.
This is all really incredible, Pi, but there's one thing that's still bugging me.
What's that?
We talked about Dirichlet energy and how it's like a measure of efficiency, but how does that actually translate into the AI learning these complex structures?
Good question. Well, to understand that, we need to talk about the math behind it all, and specifically something called spectral embeddings.
Spectral embeddings. Okay, hit me with it. What are those?
Imagine a big tangled ball of yarn. Spectral embeddings are like a way to carefully untangle that yarn and reveal its true shape.
So we're basically untangling the AI's thoughts, revealing the hidden structure of its knowledge.
That's a great way to put it. And here's the really cool part. The main dimensions of the AI's internal representations, they actually align with these spectral embeddings.
So it's not just learning the structure, it's learning it in the most mathematically efficient way possible.
It's like it's a math whiz, finding the most elegant way to represent the world.
This whole thing is blowing my mind. Pi, from the mechanics of ICL to the philosophical implications, it's been quite a journey.
And we're not done yet. There's one more piece to this puzzle, one that connects everything together.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. There's more. What else could there be?
Remember that idea of Dirichlet energy we talked about? We need to dig a little deeper into that, into the connection between AI, knowledge representation, and the fundamental laws of the universe.
Okay, Pi, you've got my attention. Let's dive into this connection. I'm ready for whatever mind-bending revelations you have in store.
Okay.
Pi, lay it on me. How does this Dirichlet energy thing connect to the whole universe?
All right. Think back to that city and roads analogy. Smooth traffic means less energy wasted, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, it's kind of the same for the AI. Dirichlet energy measures how smooth the flow of information is within its internal representations.
So lower energy means the AI is doing a better job of organizing its knowledge.
Exactly. It's like the AI is constantly tidying up its mental space, making things more efficient.
And you said this mirrors something in physics, right?
Right. Systems in physics tend to move towards states of lower energy. It's about finding the most stable state.
So the AI is like a ball rolling down a hill, always searching for that sweet spot of low energy and stability.
That's a great way to put it. And the amazing thing is, as the AI minimizes this energy, it actually learns the structure of the data it's given.
Okay, but how does that work? How do we go from energy to understanding like a hexagonal grid?
That's where the math comes in, specifically these things called spectral embeddings.
Spectral embeddings, that sounds intense.
It's a way to visualize the connections within a network, like untangling a messy ball of yarn.
So we're untangling the AI's thoughts, mapping out its understanding.
Exactly. And what's really cool is that the AI's internal representations, they line up with these spectral embeddings.
So it's not just learning the structure, it's learning it in the most mathematically efficient way possible.
It's like the AI has this innate sense of mathematical elegance, finding the most beautiful and efficient way to represent the world.
This is incredible, Pi. We've gone from tokens and conveyor belts to the fundamental laws of physics and the nature of intelligence.
It's all connected, Nick, and it makes you wonder, if AI can learn this way, what about us?
Yeah, could our brains be doing something similar? Constantly optimizing and reorganizing our knowledge.
It's definitely a possibility, and if that's the case, imagine what insights AI might be gaining from all the data it has access to.
What patterns are they seeing that we're missing? It's a little humbling, honestly.
It's a reminder that we're still just scratching the surface of AI's potential.
Well, this has been a truly mind-bending deep dive, Pi. Thank you for taking me on this journey.
It's been my pleasure, Nick. Always happy to explore these fascinating topics.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed this exploration of in-context learning and the amazing things AI is capable of.
Keep those minds curious, and remember, there's always more to discover.
Until next time, everyone, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world around you.